Mr. R wanted us to learn, me and
Jimmy.
my name is Zane, from his third period chemistry class, smile, have learned to a B extent the following concepts from the 12 chapters of our chemistry book. This is not an inclusive list, but my selections of concepts from each chapter that I will remember. Alright.
Chapter 1, Introduction to Chemistry. I remember matter because living and non-living things are made of matter. Chemistry affects all aspects of life and most natural events.
Okay, in chapter 2, I remember the extensive and intensive reactions. And extensive depends on an amount of matter in something, and intensive depends on the type of matter in something.
Chapter 3, Scientific Measurement. I remember scientific notation like 2 times 10 to the 11th power.
In chapter 4, I remember that the periodic table is useful because it labels and categorizes all the elements. We need that. That's pretty helpful for us. We look in all the different classes and stuff and groupings, and yeah, we know every atomic mass and everything.
Chapter 5, Electrons and Atoms. I remember Rutherford's atomic model because it could not explain the chemical properties of elements.
And in chapter 6, kind of more on the periodic table, how it's organized. There's classes and stuff, and each row downwards is something, and each horizontal one is something. I can't really remember. I'm scrambled. Yeah, your turn.
Chapter 7, Ionic and Metallic Bonding. I remember valence electrons because they have the highest energy levels.
And in chapter 8, molecular orbitals are so light is made from when electrons jump from one energy level and then drop back down, and then how many times that it does that, or from what energy level makes what different types and colors of light. And there's a whole bunch of different orbitals that can have, and the thing is that they're not in one specific place, they're in a whole bunch of different places, and the orbitals are just from selecting random screenshots and then getting a whole bunch of them from data.
Chapter 9, Chemical Names and Formulas. I remember monoatomic ions.
And in chapter 10, I remember that a mole is a certain amount measured of substance, and that's Avogadro's number, which is 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd. And then there's a whole bunch of stuff you can do with that, but I'll explain that later.
And chapter 11, Chemical Reactions. I remember that chemical reactions are just like recipes. They have to be very precise.
And then conversion factors are derived from the coefficients of balanced chemical equations interpreted in terms of moles. And then there's a whole bunch of ways that you can convert moles to grams and grams to moles.
Ta-da!
Ta-da!